Climate change is fast becoming one of the most significant challenges of the 21st century. As centres of economic, political and cultural activity, cities must play an important role in designing and implementing climate change adaptation and mitigation actions. Cambodia's coastal city of Preah Sihanouk is making positive strides to build their resilience amidst a changing climate.
វាជាការសំខាន់ណាស់ដែលយើងត្រូវការពារទីក្រុងរបស់យើងឲ្យរួចផុតពីគ្រោះមហន្តរាយទាំងឡាយនិងផលប៉ះពាល់នៃការប្រែប្រួលអាកាសធាតុបើមិនដូច្នេះទេយើងនឹងអាចជួបនៅបញ្ហាសេដ្ឋកិច្ចសុខុមាលភាពប្រជាពលរដ្ឋរបស់យើង
So Sihanoukville is a very strategic city for Cambodia. It's the location of Cambodia's only sea port, which means that all many imports and exports come through Sihanoukville.
តំបន់ខេត្តព្រះសីហនុយើងបានន័យថាជាទីក្រុងទេសចរណ៍មួយដែលមានធនធានធម្មជាតិយ៉ាងសម្បូរបែប
In order to assist urban planners, UN Habitat created a strategic planning guide that can be used to address climate change impacts in cities. Through the process, planners will be able to better meet the needs of the community and build a more economically, environmentally and socially sustainable city.
Planning for climate change is participatory, which means that it supports a broad number of local stakeholders to become involved in the planning process and ensures that the planning process meets as many different objectives as possible. It seeks to understand the local values and objectives that people have in the local area. It encourages planners to make the best use of the resources that they have available to them. It's aligned with and implemented through existing plans and processes at the city level.
The first phase of planning for climate change is crucial as it builds the foundation for the entire planning process. It focuses on getting organised, planning, establishing which stakeholders to engage, and understanding climate change through a vulnerability assessment. At the completion of this phase, it will be clear what is happening, how climate change is affecting their city, why they should do something about it, and who should be involved in that process. In the case of Sihanoukville, the vulnerability assessment revealed that people who live in low-income coastal areas are most vulnerable to climate change. Their vulnerability is driven by a dependence on climate-sensitive livelihoods, such as fishing and tourism, and exacerbated by low incomes, poor quality housing, a lack of information on climate change, and infrastructural challenges.
ក្នុងរយៈពេលប្រមាណឆ្នាំកន្លងមកនេះឃើញថាតំបន់ឆ្នេរនៅក្រុងម៉ាស៊ីនុភាគច្រើនត្រូវបានហូរច្រោះដោយខ្សាច់ដោយការប្រែប្រួលអាកាសធាតុពីការកើនឡើងនៃកម្ពស់ទឹកសមុទ្រក៏ដូចជាការខ្យល់ព្យុះធំៗ
What we found was that local people were relying on Thai and Vietnamese radio for weather information, and as a result they weren't getting accurate weather information when they went out in the fishing boats.
ការសិក្សានេះគឺមានសារៈប្រយោជន៍ណាស់សម្រាប់អាជ្ញាធរខេត្តក៏ដូចជាអាជ្ញាធរក្រុងសម្រាប់យកផលប៉ះពាល់ទាំងអស់នេះទៅរៀបចំផែនការក្នុងការអនុវត្ត
The next phase of the process answers the question, what matters most? Supported by UN Habitat, the Sihanoukville local authorities set out to prioritise the challenges, asking questions like which issues matter most to the community, which climate change impacts have the largest effect on the economy. This was done through a participatory approach, involving focus group discussions and consultations with various stakeholders. At the end of this process, there were clear objectives to reduce the vulnerability in the fishery sector, improve sanitation, protect the environment, strengthen the tourism industry, and build more capacity for strategic planning on climate change.
បាទបើចំពោះអ្នកដទៃគេគិតថាมันសំខាន់បើចំពោះខ្ញុំគិតថាខ្ញុំសំខាន់ព្រោះថាខ្ញុំអត់មានអ្វីដែលថាខ្ញុំអាចរកផ្សេងកាត់ព្រោះថាខ្ញុំកើតមកវាកូនជាអ្នកអត់បានខ្ញុំរើសជ្រើសរើសការនេសាទហ្នឹងជាមុខរបរដ៏ធំចំពោះខ្ញុំថាឲ្យខ្ញុំចេញទៅហ្នឹង ដោយថាចេញទៅដោយថាយើងទៅហេងសយទៅតែចាយដន់ដោយថាទៅរកបើសិនជាប៉ះខ្យល់គេអាចត្រឡប់វិញកើតអ្នកខ្លះក៏អាចមកបន្តកើត
The third phase of the Planning for Climate Change Guide answers the question, what can we do about it? To act on the priorities agreed upon with the community, the local authorities decided to set up an automatic weather station, create a better waste management system, protect the beach against erosion through a zoning plan, rehabilitate mangrove forests, and improve climate change understanding through a series of trainings with the local authorities. Following the 2010 vulnerability assessment, with the help from UN Habitat, the provincial authority successfully applied for funding from the Cambodia Climate Change Alliance to implement these locally designed climate change adaptation actions.
ក្រោយពីគេដំឡើងដងព្យាករណ៍ធាតុអាកាសនៅខេត្តសីហនុហ្នឹងខ្ញុំអាចធ្វើឲ្យជីវិតខ្ញុំប្រសើរមិនអាចមានផលប៉ះពាល់ផលលំបាកអីមួយដែលផ្សេងៗដែលថាពីខ្យល់ព្យុះហ្នឹងសោះខ្ញុំបានពិនិត្យឃើញថាតូបបណ្ដាលទាំងឡាយដែលនៅតាមតំបន់ឆ្នេរក្នុងអូជាទៀលហ្នឹងឃើញគឺពីមុនគឺមានភាពរញ៉េរញ៉ៃប៉ុន្តែក្រោយពីអនុវត្តគម្រោងយើងឃើញថាយើងបានកាត់បន្ថយរុញតូបពីតូបអាជីវករទាំងនោះឲ្យចាក់ចេញពីឆ្នេរសមុទ្រ5ទៅ7ម៉ែត្រអត់ទាន់បានកិលគឺថាហាងដូចចិត្តជាប់សមុទ្រចឹងពេលភ្លៀងមកខ្យល់មកវាប៉ះពាល់ចឹងយើងជាជីវករវាភ័យវាបាក់កន្លែងបាក់អីយ៉ាងទៀតបាក់លក់ដល់ឥឡូវហាងគាត់រៀបចំមកក្រោយចឹងអត់មានប៉ះពាល់អីល្អយើងឃើញថា UN Habitat បានជួយនៅកសាងសមត្ថភាពដល់មន្ត្រីអនុវត្តគម្រោងក៏ដូចជាដល់មន្ត្រីនៅក្នុងក្រុងប្រស៊ីនុដើម្បីឲ្យមានចំណេះដឹងបាទពាក់ព័ន្ធជាមួយនឹងកិច្ចការក្នុងការរៀបចំផែនការទៅលើការងារប្រែប្រួលអាកាសធាតុនេះ
The final phase in the process answers the question, are we doing it? Planning for Climate Change guides local authorities to monitor and evaluate the process so that lessons learned can be applied towards current and future planning and projects at the local and also national level.
គម្រោងបំរើអាកាសធាតុយើងកត់សម្គាល់ឃើញថានៅក្រុងសីហនុឥឡូវនេះមានភាពងាយរងគ្រោះតិចតួចជាងមុនហើយពីការរងនៅឥទ្ធិពលនៃការបំបែបអាកាសធាតុ
Fundamentally, good planning practices are also climate-smart planning practices. The officials of Sihanoukville understand that climate change planning takes a long-term view and must be mainstreamed into the overall planning process in order to reap sustainable benefits. UN Habitat is working to support local authorities to integrate and mainstream climate change with existing planning instruments and development activities across all sectors.
Through working with Sihanoukville, we've demonstrated that local government is a capable and important implementing partner, and therefore we can work with other towns and cities in Cambodia and show that they too are important implementing partners in climate change.